Hi there, everybody. Doug here from 2 Plus Tough and doing another live while you're reforging. And again, I have my good friend Jack from Rolling Ones.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Yes, everyone loved him so much. He decided to come back for more. And today we have a fun video full of, let's see, all kinds of stuff. We're talking different types of battle plans. Jack, can you say something real quick? I think your mic went out.
Oh, no, my mic went out?
Oh, no, there it goes. I heard a weird thud. So we're talking all about different kinds of formats to play Age of Sigmar with. This weekend, actually, we did together 2 different kinds. We did, what is it, Mighty Battles and Battle Strategies?
Battle Strategies, and yeah, it was the big mega battle with Mighty Battles.
Mighty Battles, yeah.
Okay, yes.
And we'll be talking all about those. So before we do that, I always start off with hobby progress so you know what we're working on while we're talking about all this stuff. Jack, what are you working on today?
Today I'm working on a Bloodthirster that I've been painting probably for a month now, but it's been on and off, get distracted by, Fire Slayer or something like that. But I'm trying to get this guy done. Well, not done. Get him, closer to being done than he was before.
Yeah, right on. What is your, how much corn are you planning on building?
I don't know, until Slanesh comes out.
Okay, right on. Let me just adjust my light here, and I'll go through mine here. I am continuing my work on some very lovely iron jaws.
Good work. It's good work.
They're coming out pretty good now. The blue is down pat. I'm going to put a video out kind of explaining more stuff later on about the detail that I went through, how to fix this, because some people were asking about how to fix models that they think look like crap. But basically, I'm just going back over with the blue, making it all brighter, and then I'm going to go back with the oranges and cover up that red, because I like the orange and blue more than the other colors. And I feel like I'm an adult now. I upgraded to a wet palette here.
Oh, wow.
It was like on Amazon for like $4, and I got an Amazon card, and I was like, I feel like I'm running out of excuses.
I just stopped using a wet palette, not because I didn't want to use it, because I bought these online thinking they were for my wet palette. Turns out there's the wax paper.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to use these until I run out, which
there you go.
Be quite a while.
Right on, yeah. So as far as since the last time I've been on, if you head over to Instagram for the channel, I did basically, I had a block of 30 of these art boys that I didn't like, and so I'm going back in groups of 10 and redoing them so I keep my sanity. And then in between those 10, I did the first 10. I did the first 10 art boys, and then 10. I did the mega boss. I'm sorry, and then 10 more art boys, and then the shaman. And I just got these left, and then I'm hitting the brutes, which I'm very excited for.
Excellent. I'm glad you're liking them.
Yes. Once I got the paint scheme down, that was everything.
Are you going to play them? Are you going to paint them all before you play them, or are you going to try to get some test games in and whatnot?
I'm going to break my own rule and try and get some test games in. There's another gentleman named Max locally. We're going to play a game together this Thursday at Let's Play Cafe in Monroe.
Okay.
Because he has some unpainted ogres. So I'll be able to share that. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I try to get these all painted. I was like, no, don't worry about it. Like, at a certain point, it's one of those cyclical things where I get more excited to paint by playing things. So I gotta boost my enthusiasm here.
Understood. I definitely play a lot unpainted. I played 2 games today, and yeah, most of my corn was painted, but I got to say I can need to paint more Stormcast. It needs to be on the list, because I think maybe 2 of them were completed, and it's a 2,000-point army, so I felt kind of bad. Yeah.
So on that note, let's just dive into games played. Let's skip the mega battle and the strategies one, because we'll talk about that later. But what'd you play today?
I played against Legion in the Gash, which is like my Everest. It's like my white whale. I've yet to beat them, and we can, we'll talk about, the results in some of these tournaments, and Legion in the Gash being on top. But they're a tough army to crack, especially if you dump a whole bunch of wounds into a unit, you finally kill it, you feel accomplished, and then they used a command point to bring it back. that is just, it's like, it's a bad feel. It gives me the feel badsies. Of course, I had a really nasty list too, so I can't really, I've been guilty of that. I had 9 long strike crossbowmen and 4 Cell-Star ballistas. So I played was it Iron Guts before I played Legion of the Gash, and
Yeah.
I think it lasted to the second turn.
Oh, I just deleted them.
Yeah, those things I was rolling hot as well. But what about yourself? Games played?
Besides the ones that we had talked about, I guess the only thing that kind of fits into this category is I did try out the AOS Champions. Because as far as actual proper Age of Sigmar, no, I didn't play anything else besides the mega battles and the battle strategy we'll talk about later. But I did try out the new card game they got going out, and it is legit. I'm gonna have a full review coming soon. I reached out to Play Fusion, the company that makes it, to just kind of ask them a few more questions about their format so I can be a little more educated. But yeah, no, I'm pumped for it. It's pretty cool.
I don't know if I dropped or you dropped, but I couldn't hear you for like 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I played the AOS Champions card game.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. So I reached out to Play Fusion today to ask them some questions about some of the features they have coming up soon. Because I want to give kind of a big review and kind of promotion, actually, because I really think it is cool. So, yeah.
That's cool. I really like that GW these days. They give you a lot of different ways to, or just different games in general. Like, I love playing Silver Tower and Warhammer Quest. I loved Warhammer Quest when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You're still in the same universe, but it's just a different way to enjoy it. I really like that aspect.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I like that because it kind of keeps you with something familiar. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. So,
are you excited about any of these 40K releases, like the Orc game where they're in buggies and whatnot? What's I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, Speed Freaks.
Yes.
I'm excited because it's a faction that hasn't gotten models in a long time. Like, I'm excited for people who are excited about it.
Okay.
But I personally, like, I'm sitting here painting Ironjaws, and Ironjaws to me are the perfect orc army because you get all the fun of playing orcs, but you don't need 1,000 boys. Whereas in 40K, it's a lot of it has largely been like you just need more bodies, and I don't want to paint 100 orcs before I can experience the army. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to play it, but the models look stunning. I mean, just from a technical aspect of like what they're able to do.
It's beautiful, and I'm glad somebody, like, it's not for me, but yep. I don't like begrudge other people getting enjoyment like from these games, and I like that you can buy Speed Freaks and use the stuff you've got in the box for Warhammer 40K. I really enjoy that aspect.
Yeah, I've loved the model, and they introduced it pretty early on with AOS too, as far as like mini games that are really just ways of getting you some cool models for their main games.
Yeah, I wish they would just give you like the whole unit worth of models rather than, well, here's 3 guys, but you need 6 to complete the unit.
Yeah,
that's where eBay is your friend.
I mean, I feel like there's no part of the miniature wargamer hobby where eBay is not going to be your best friend.
There are a lot of eBay rescues in my lists.
Yep. It's an eclectic army. It's not a hodgepodge. It's eclectic. That's how you word it.
It's like Sister Act 2.
Are you keeping Stormcast as kind of like your beat face army?
Yeah, that's like the tournament scene up here is not that big.
Right.
But I've been in 3 tournaments and I've gotten first and second using Stormcast, and I tried my core and I didn't even place. But like you're not seeing a lot of really, really net listy evil things up here yet. But I think eventually, it'll, like everything else, people will find out what works and stick to it.
Yep.
But yeah, so my Stormcast list is much stronger than anything I can field with Corn. Or I don't own a ton of. No, I don't own anything to like make a murder host, for instance. And that's what you need, or you need it in first edition.
Right. I get that. I haven't heard much about the murder host. I know Corn came out. I don't know if I can't remember if it won but it placed highly at Nova.
Yes. Did they get first?
I think someone said they were first. I haven't been able to find like the full results. But I'm pretty sure they were up there if they didn't take number one. If someone in the comments can tell me, I'm very curious. But I mean, that's cool. Yeah, I know one of the questions that a viewer sent in for this episode was, how do you feel about Blades of Corn doing so well at Nova? So I don't know if that meant they won or not. But
oh yeah, I'm not even sure where you find the results. Really.
I usually find the results at a website called AOS Shorts, but they just haven't updated it with Nova stuff yet.
Oh, gotcha. So maybe if you could do like a YouTube video, it could help me out, though.
Yep. So okay, right on. So cool stuff there. Tell me about you were sharing in our group chat. Like, what did you learn about your Stormcast? Because you were trying something new with the ballistas, right?
Yeah. Well, the list I made had 4 ballistas in it, which in an ordinator. Which if you can get within 18 inches of something, that's what.
It's something.
16 shots hitting on 4s, and then it turns into D6 hits, kind of like the shockbolt bow, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It's -2 range, so it's really, really like it hurts things that like besides like Night Haunt, where you can just ignore range characteristics.
Right.
It's something that is really good at beating armies that have armor.
Gotcha.
It's also very low like model count, so it's not a very hoardy army.
Cool.
But like it has like hard counters and stuff like that. I'm not sure how well it'd do at like a big tournament but it's good at beating people who don't have books yet.
That's awesome.
It's like a bully army until a bigger bully comes and bullies you.
I love it. So one of the things you mentioned you want to talk about before the show started was this thing that Rob at the Honest Wargamer put out.
Yes.
Which let me pause here and you can start talking about it, but I'll screen share here.
Okay. I'll look at it here. I got it up.
See here. Give me 1 second to do that. I am now screen sharing. And here we go. All right. So tell me what I'm looking at.
I believe these are from this is data from AOS tournaments, and it's willing to keep it up. Okay, it's just data from a lot of the tournaments, and like here's the top. For instance, the Legion of the Gash, they have the most winning percentage, I think. What am I looking at? This same one? I think I have the wrong one open. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm really interested in looking at the top 5. So you got Legion of the Gash, Daughters of Cain, which that's is not. I'm not a huge tournament player, and so like I didn't expect to see them up there that high. I expected Tzeentch, because Tzeentch seemed to be the big bully on the playground last edition.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5 is very respectable, but Night Haunt, I thought they'd be further up there. Stormcast, respectable 6, because I like Stormcast because they're like a jack of all trade but master of some. Like they're really good at some stuff. Like I think something that hinders Stormcast is drops, because you're probably going to go second in something like this, depending on if that's important. But you also have Signs of the Storm, so if you do go second, you can put your important units in the Celestial realm. But again, I'm not the biggest competitive player. Like,
totally.
Rerolling ones, you can tell, but it's trying to dip a toe into that scene, and it can be fun, but it can also be frustrating when you're like, oh, I didn't even get to go. Like so, I've been playing against this Legion of the Gash player a couple times, and a lot of what happens to me, my losses, is due to ignorance. Not knowing the other army, and and you can. That's why it's usually cool to ask questions. Like I asked him, like how far his threat range was with his spells, and he said 18 inches. But then all of a sudden, Archon added 6 inches to that somehow, and I'm like, well, he told me 18, but I guess it's 24, and I put my units within 18, so I was a little perturbed about that. But
yeah, I get that. I tried to. I mean, we had that when we were playing that Fire Slayer game when we traded off for the Iron Jaws, where it's like, what does this do? It does this, but I can also make this rune happen. Like I'm very emphatic on I want you to have all the information, and not everyone's like that.
Yes.
Where we basically just took 20 minutes and I just explained all the runes.
Buy a battle tome and find out.
Exactly, yeah.
I think maybe at the highest end, it's you're expected to know your opponent's army, maybe. But I think at home games, garage games, it's courteous to hey, this guy does this, and you've got to watch out for that. So you might not want to put him there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's up for debate because I look at the top players because I follow the 40K tournament scene a little bit because I'm very interested in it. And some of the highest level players up there, if you watch the actual battle report for the win, they're asking each other questions and they're pretty honest about it.
That's cool.
I don't know.
Yes, it's all me speaking out of ignorance. It's kind of you assume how it is, but when you go to a tournament, it's a lot oh, this is actually pretty fun. We're all here to have fun.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes
there are always crap people, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I know, and you learn lessons. The last tournament I went to, I had 9 drops, I believe, and I asked my opponent how many drops he had, and he was like, "Oh, I have a ton. Don't worry about it." And he ended up having less than I did, and I set up as if I was going to go first. So I learned the lesson. Just tell me, I get the answer, not just the vague answer. So you learn and improve.
Interesting.
And you're going to the next tournament, right, Doug?
I am planning on it, yes.
And are you going to run your Iron Jaws?
I am, yeah. I mean, my goal for my first tournament is to just not go 0-3.
Okay.
That is honestly it because I haven't my first game with this army is going to be on Thursday, so that gives me a week of practice.
Luckily, it's Iron Jaws.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been told is they're just very once you learn the units, they're very intuitive as far as what they do and what they need to be.
All 7 units. How many units do they have? Legit? I know it's something low.
I got a few leader options. I mean, as far as on the ground units, they at least have 3. They have Ard Boys, Brutes, and the Boar Rider guys.
The Boar Riders, yep.
There's a whole bunch of leaders, but yeah, I mean, there's very few things going on.
Well, actually, the tournament which I'm speaking of, the last one I went to, Iron Jaws won it.
They did, yeah, by a list that I would never play. Where it was just, I think it was 5 units of 3 Maw Crushers, and then
no,
1 or 2 of the.
You mean Gore Gruntus?
Gore Gruntus, I'm sorry, yes, and then there was I think 1 or 2 Maw Crusher leader bosses. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2.
There's 1, and they had I actually talked to him the other day. He had the Mega Boss on foot, and so it's one of those things that interesting. If they're gonna keep it like this, or if they're going to nerf it, where you have a unit that can use the same command ability more than once, right?
Yeah.
For instance, the Aspiring Deathbringer, he has +1 attack, but it says on the War Scroll you can only use it once, or units can only be affected by it once. But for instance, Vandus Hammerhand, or Hammerhand, Vandus Hammerhand, he has that same ability. Units wholly within a certain range get +1 attack, but it doesn't say you can use it more than once.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they kind of made a situation where they have to FAQ things on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Which just takes time. I mean, it's not really an issue. It's just time.
I'm away from the game. All right.
So,
what we got next, Doug?
Huh?
What we got next? I think we don't have anything more to discuss on this.
Okay.
Prizes, Blades of Corn being that high, but I wonder if it's all murder host. I know I like to play Gore Pilgrims and like just have a summoning battery.
Are we still talking about the Twitter thing? Okay, I'll go back to there. Sorry, I took it down for a second. Yeah, we're talking about Blades of Corn from the Nova. I love playing against Corn right now because like it's so ridiculously fun when stuff's dying and you're just accruing blood type points.
Oh yeah, that's a game we can talk about. We played each other on what was it, 2 days ago?
Yeah, I tell you what, let's pause that for a second. I'm going to answer some listener questions.
Okay.
And then we will hop into talking about our main subject here as far as the games go. So let me bring up the questions. Here's the thing: is I put the call out for questions today, and I got like blitzed with like 38 of them. So we're gonna do some today, and then we'll come back to some later.
I got nothing else to do. Let's go.
Okay. I'm considering. Sorry, this is from Jimbo. Jimbo says, I'm considering starting a destruction army, but to mix things up, have them all be corrupted by the chaos gods. With this, I would just paint them different colors for each god and add weird mutations, make them army unique. I was wondering if there's any lore about this, or if I just need to make it up as I go. Jack, you have anything?
I know in the old world there were chaos trolls and chaos ogres and stuff like that. And I think if a human can devote himself to a chaos god, why couldn't an orc or a ogre or anything like that? They have maybe not as much intelligence as the other guys, but I could see that happening.
Yeah, me too. I mean, if you're asking, has it happened in the book so far? No, but that shouldn't be a hindrance to you. Because even if you look at like 40K, which a lot of these narratives borrow each other from, there is a story in 40K that I love where a bunch of orcs have found like their version of heaven because they just fight and kill everything, and then Khorne resurrects them the next day. Even though they don't worship him, it just makes him happy. So stuff like that. I mean, those kinds of stories exist in 40K, and I think part of that is just simply because those weird one-off stories aren't very prevalent in AOS because it hasn't been around as long. Where that's like a one-off story from a codex like years ago.
I have a question for you, Doug.
Yeah, it's a
question from Jack Ballard in Seattle.
Okay.
What color would a bloodthirster's fingernails be?
I would say either bone kind of color, or maybe even like a really dark purple, like kind of how blood looks when it's not oxidized or oxidated, whatever it is.
Okay. I'll take those into consideration.
All right, next question from Jacob Sullivan. I was wondering, do I need to take specific parts of a faction to be competitive, or can I just take what I like and still be competitive? For example, Stormcasts, do I always need to take, say, Vanguard stuff, or can I mix and match? Man, that's super unclear and long-winded. Sorry. That's his completion to his question. I mean, on this channel, where I'm going to tell you, take whatever you want. Like, you're not going to hear a separate answer from me. As far as like, are all things competitive?
No.
No.
All things are not created equal in this game.
No. I think it's funny you brought Vanguard up as an example because I don't traditionally think of Vanguard as being the most competitive. So it's interesting that you started there, but no, not everything is, but everything can be fun if you have fun with it. Which is typically where I and my friends land. The crux of our last show when Jack was on was saying just take whatever you want. Don't worry about effectiveness.
Yeah, take whatever you like. Don't feel like bullied or judged for taking something that's not great. As long as you like it, take it.
Totally. And I mean, one of those things, like if your local group is on the harder end as far as like tough opponents, you can just ask them like, hey, like I ask Jack this all the time, how could I have beat you? And that can decide your purchases, but I would say just go whatever you like and then work from there. Okay, next question is...
Oh, we got somebody here. First was Grand Host in the Gash. Second was Blade Accord. and third was Flesh Eater Quartz. Wow, Flesh Eater Quartz coming up strong. I know I've seen people talk about lists where you can almost summon 1,000 extra points of stuff with Flesh Eater Quartz. I'm curious to know what that is, because that's like the army I have that stuff, and eyeballing it. I'm flirting with Flesh Eater Quartz, but
I would like it to be known that 2 years ago I put a video out called The Best Army in AOS, and it came out when Flesh Eater Quartz was released, and I made this claim that Flesh Eater Quartz was the greatest army in AOS because they could do like a recursion mechanic, and everyone laughed at me. I've had many comments telling me to take it down, and it has come full circle to where I'm so wrong that I become right.
Oh, but it's the third best. See, they got third place behind corn. That's cool. I have corn. All right.
That's so funny. I did not expect that at all. Cool. Whoever said that, thank you so much for pointing that out.
Is it Battle Brother Seraphan?
You rock. Let's see here. Next question is Joel Roan. I believe that's how you pronounce Roan. Do you like to keep multiple armies for choices of play, or do you play an army until you're tired of it and then trade? In that vein, do you have some favorite models you will keep because you love that model and display it somewhere? So, Jack, I will let you answer that. Do you? I
am a Warhammer hoarder. I still have plastic Black Orcs from when I was a kid, and so I keep. It's actually lately I'm getting better. Like especially like having our community of friends and stuff where I have so much stuff. I give stuff away a lot. If somebody can get enjoyment out of it, I'll give it to somebody.
Totally.
There's a bunch of stuff over there. I have way too much stuff, and but yeah, I usually keep stuff, especially if it's painted and usable.
Right on, right on. For me, I trade armies like I breathe.
Yeah.
But I am honestly, this Iron Jaws project has shown me that I think my tastes are changing as I grow a little older, and my time, the amount of time I have to do these kinds of projects fluctuates.
Yep.
So it's changing on me. I don't think I'm going to be doing that very much longer. But as far as like, so normally, to answer your question, traditionally I would keep an army until I get tired of it and then trade it off. As far as models, I would keep. The only model that I am so in love with that I will never get rid of is my Glotkin. I saw him, thought it was pretty. I spent like 4 weeks on him, and I just love that dude. And he's the constant thing where it's like, if they either don't come out with a Chaos Undivided book, or they do and I don't like it, which is, it's whatever. I'll just kind of paint, throw some green wash on my guys and have a Maggotkin army and have him be the head of it.
Yeah, I got to fight the Glotkin.
Yeah. And give me 1 second here. Someone asked if I could do a Legion of Asgore, which I think is the Chaos Dwarves. Which let me learn about them first, and yeah, sure, why not?
History, like a lore video.
I think so. I think I would probably do like a like I made a Beastman video many moons ago where it was like lore from the old world, and then kind of reviewed the War Scrolls. And because I don't think they're getting much more support, I might do something like that where like it could just be one big video.
Sure.
Here we go. Here's one for both of us from Dave B. What's your favorite Chaos God and why?
Initially, I didn't like Chaos, but in the early 2000s when the Juan Diaz Demonettes came out, I fell in love with the models. Just like you saw the Glotkin, I saw those Demonettes, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I bought a bunch and I became a follower of Slaanesh. But I gotta say, somebody who I used to hate until I started listening to the audiobooks is Nurgle. I used to not like Nurgle at all, but he just sounds so like, I love that he's just so happy all the time.
Right.
Like a grandfather. And I've actually come in, I don't want to play Nurgle, I don't want to own Nurgle, but I'd like to take somebody's army out for a spin because I just like how happy he is and stuff like that. And the Nurglings and all those, and how the beasts of Nurgle are kind of like big puppy dogs.
Yep.
Love on you, and they accidentally squish you. And I'm a big fan of Nurgle, but Slaanesh is always going to be #1 for me. And I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Right on. And if you are watching and you want to see just how mean Slanesh can be, go over to Rerolling Ones and watch Jack beat me and all my friends with Slanesh. People talk about how they're such a low tier army all the time, and yet I have no response to it.
Like Rerolling Ones is a very low tier goof off channel, and so we're not like, we can bring pretty mean lists, but we're definitely more flavorful and narrative and fun. And I guess it's just like Beast Claw Raiders for home games. They're awesome. You can't, like, if you're gonna just go drink some beer and roll some dice, Beast Claw Raiders can kick butt. But if you got a tournament, they just don't have the model count and whatnot.
That's fair. For me, my Chaos God is definitely Nurgle. That when I first picked up AOS, I had a bunch of Chaos Warriors. I converted to be Nurgle-fied before the Maggotkin book ever dropped, like many years before that. I like the modeling opportunities that Nurgle provides, with the gross pustules and all that kind of stuff. Plus, I'm much better at painting organics than I am with armor, and a lot of the tentacles and the body parts and all kind of stuff, the growths, that's all very organic. And so it comes very natural to me to paint. And just like Jack said, I like the lightheartedness. Is a really fun contrast to just how horrific everything that he does is. So yeah, good question. Next one is from.
So last place would be Tzeentch. I'm not a huge fan of Tzeentch.
Yeah, even though I played Tzeentch and had a wonderful Tzeentch army, like lore wise, he is also my bottom choice. Like for me, it goes Nurgle, Khorne, Slanesh, Tzeentch. If I had to put them in order.
I mean, it's wrong, but I got you.
Would you put Slanesh on top and then Khorne, Nurgle?
Nurgle, Khorne, and then Tzeentch way. Tzeentch is behind Malice. Tzeentch is behind the Great Horned Rat.
Fair enough.
I'm not a fan of Destiny dice, man.
It's not even that. Like, I'm just not a fan of the. Our plans are so deep that it conflicts with itself, kind of thing. Where it's like everyone else is moving towards something and failing, and he is just like, "Well, I could screw my own plan up. That's fine." And they're like, "No." Whatever.
We got it in the chat. Maybe you're the lore master, and people have answered it a little bit. Someone asked if Slanesh is a girl, and I'm not huge. Like, I just always remember Slanesh being referred to as the Dark Prince, and so I always assumed he was a guy. But somebody who did it here, Old Witch Doctor in 40K, Slanesh is the Dark Prince, but the Eldar call Slanesh she who thirsts. So that is interesting, very ambiguous.
Yes, my understanding is that Slanesh is whatever you want them to be.
Yeah. Okay.
So whatever will tempt you, and it doesn't just mean like sexual temptation. Like there's a 40K story of a Grey Knight who makes it all the way to Slanesh, and he sees a small innocent child, not because he desires that, but because it's the thing he would instinctively kill.
What is it about that Grey Knight?
Exactly. Yeah.
To catch a predator.
This is Pedo Pete. He's the Grey Knight. He's going to lead us to victory.
Oh my gosh! All right.
But you know what I mean? Like it's whatever.
Float your boat.
Well, it's whatever it needs to be in that situation to survive or thrive or whatever it might be. So, yeah, that's a good question. Next one from Corey, who asked like 14. So we're going to condense some of these. Jack, what's a book you recommend after Soul Wars?
So after Soul Wars, I really got into was it Callus and Tull?
Yeah.
That's my favorite, because I only listen to the audiobooks. I just don't have, I can make time to read, I guess, but at work I have plenty of time to listen to audiobooks. And it wasn't the first one, it's the newest one they have released, but it's my favorite Age of Sigmar book. It's just so exciting. And I'm excited to listen. I can't wait till the next chapter, what's going to happen. Whereas, man, Stormcast are boring, man. Some of those books, it was a chore to listen to, and I have all day to listen to them. But man, Stormcast are boring. Like like a witch hunter and like a free guild soldier, and they're dealing with problems. They're on an adventure. It's like Indiana Jones, but in Age of Sigmar, and it's just not like all about Sigmar this and Sigmar that, and let's go fight the Chaos God. Just like I get it, boring. Then that's why also I liked Soul Wars because it was a little exciting. It had little, there was stuff to do.
I agree. I agree. I like some Stormcast books. My thing is, I just always think that humans will be more relatable and therefore more fun.
Yes.
Which is why I desperately want a Free People's Battle Tome out.
We'll get there.
I know.
I'm just curious how these because I not make a prediction, but like I have a feeling that the next few armies like Slanesh, Beast of Chaos, and Gratz, all these rumored things that are coming out, I think they're just going to be solidly mid-tier army, which I don't have a problem with. I don't think only the newest army has to jump to the top of the list when it comes to competitive gaming.
I think there's definitely a precedent for that. I mean, that's definitely happened in GW history where the power creep happens, and then there's just some unfortunate codex where they pump the brakes real hard. Not this Blood Angels codex, but the last one for 40K was that exact thing. Things were escalating really harsh, and then all of a sudden it's like, and they just didn't live up to what all the other codexes were doing, which is hard because at that time. Go ahead.
This we were looking at, what are like all those top armies, what do they have in common? They're all the most recent books.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, I don't know.
I think Zeech is the only one that's not recent.
Would you consider Blades of Corn recent? I guess they got it wrong.
Yeah, they're not recent. I'm wrong.
No, it's fine. It's hard because they're not recent, but they got a complete overhaul. Like Blades of Corn walked away with much more than I think any other army did in the
summoning.
Yeah, because they didn't just get summoning; they still had their cool other things. Like you can still just shut down a spell.
It's like Blades of Corn are interesting. I'd also like to get your opinion on all this upheaval with Forge World.
Oh, okay. You're gonna pull that out? Okay, bring it. What's your question?
Like, I don't know. It seems to me, this is again me putting my tinfoil hat on, my Azurite armor hat. Like that GW doesn't like Forge World or something. They like the new rules are all worse than they were before. It seems, and the prices are going up, and it's just like it seems like they just want to get rid of it. To me, I don't know. Could just be reading too much into it, but it's just like, man, why are it's like everything announced about Forge World seems to be in a negative light now.
I get that. I think Forge World sits in a weird place because, like, if you think about what they are, right? Fundamentally, there's Games Workshop umbrella above them, and then they're kind of this own thing underneath that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a strange business model. Like most companies would just absorb it, and it would just be Games Workshop, and here's maybe like a special edition model or like Couture line or whatever you want to, equivalent. So there's nothing really like that. I think like Privateer Press doesn't have anything like that. So my point in saying that is like trying to figure out what their business strategy is kind of hard because it's kind of hard to define what they are.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that they make like premium products, premium price, which they certainly do, but the fact that it fits into their normal mainstream product, 40K, AOS, whatever, is kind of strange as well. I don't know. The general tone I've seen from them is I think that they're eventually going to morph Forge World into being a expansion store. So for example, like you can buy the Necromunda set or you can get the special weapon stuff that they have available only on Forge World. It's an expansion for what already exists. Because you're right, like their rules are not great. They're not play tested. Everything else seems to be play tested except Forge World stuff.
But the thing is, like, don't forget they have that new Chaos Dragon come out for Forge World.
And that's the thing that kind of throws it off. Like, if it wasn't for that model, I'd be like, oh, well, clearly they're just downsizing because they're going to restructure and reorganize. And then they kept throwing these pictures of this stupid dragon out there, and I'm like, it looks amazing. Like, it's an incredible model.
There is.
But where does that fit into the rest of everything else Forge World is doing is downsizing, minimizing, clearing out? I don't get it.
We shall see. Just like all these predictions, we'll see. It'll show up. Oh, someone put something in the chat. Forge World seems to be moving away from whole armies, with a few exceptions, and sticking to special characters and huge monsters. Huh.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, yeah, expansions for stuff. Yeah, I'm saying, but yeah, I don't quite understand it. Well, honestly, the biggest thing, I don't really care what they do. I think that it is only to GW and Forge World's benefits to just have a press release and be like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that would only benefit them. You don't have to tell me what products are coming out soon if you want to hold that close to the chest. Just be like, hey, Horus Heresy is going on the back burner because they're clearing out all the product for that. But at the same time, they keep telling people it's going to be around forever. It's like, well, technically, so is Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So maybe you should define what forever means.
It'd just be nice. And I don't know if they like all this, like, buzz that they get from changing stuff, but definitely people are either upset about it or, don't care. There's nobody in the middle, it seems.
And that's the truth of it, honestly. Like, and I definitely fall into the don't care part because, frankly, I'm not going to pay that much money.
Yes.
The whole reason I do all the hobby trading and stuff like that is because it's cheaper than just buying everything new and having no room for it. So I'm not their target demographic, which is why I tend to reserve my opinion. Yeah. All right. Was that it for the Forge World question?
Oh yeah, we kind of go off on tangents, but
that's all good. It's all good. Jack, what's your favorite realm and why?
Favorite realm and why? You go first.
Lore-wise, it used to be the Realm of Metal until I read and did the review for Gur, Realm of Beasts. It's just so cool sounding. And I haven't played it rules-wise, but I'm interested to, for sure.
I want to know how it works. I know you have to have lots of monsters and whatnot, but yeah, I love playing like realm rules and goofy stuff like that where it's randomized. It's my favorite. And my favorite realm, I'll go with Akshi, just because it's like, when I first thought, oh, everything's fire, everything's lava, then you realize, oh no, it has mountains and snow and everything, but just all the just a lot of the history is taking place on Akshi.
Totally.
Like that, and so. And I like how the people there are fiery and hot-tempered and whatnot. I'll go with Akshi.
I find it harder to get into the realms where nothing's taken place yet. Like,
yes,
like Olgu. Like, well, but nothing. I don't have a context for a cool story or like been demonstrated how that environment affects things, and so there's cool lore in there, but just I don't have that sense of it yet.
Yeah. Do you have a realm you're looking forward to learning more information on the most?
I think High-ish. Realm of Light. Not only because I used to have a high elf army and Teclis is my man from Warhammer Fantasy Battles.
Yep.
But just in addition to that, like everything that we have from the lore is that it's centered on focus. It's focused on reason and intelligence, and it's like, what does that look like in AOS when everyone's trying to murder each other? Like, what does a Khorne warband look like in High-ish when everyone's focused on being intelligent?
They all have monocles?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that is interesting. Khorne band from High-ish.
Just like murder efficiency models seem awesome. How about you? The one you're most excited about learning about?
I'll go with Olgu.
Olgu? Yeah, that's fair.
I like, not Malekith. What's Malekith's new name?
Malarian.
Valerian. I want to see what's going on with him.
Cool, cool. Let's see here. I'm just going to do a few more. This is an interesting one. How do you keep play groups? Sorry, this is from Joel Ronigan. Talk about how you started your play groups and continue to keep them healthy. Do you find yourself playing in games, your games in homes or local game shops more? How do you get people playing?
Okay. Well, game groups for me, my journey was interesting. It's like the internet is your friend.
Yeah, dude.
To finding game groups, when it comes to finding people, I'm sure if you go on Facebook, even if you don't like Facebook, just you can create a account just for Warhammer and being able to connect with people. I know, I can't remember, Tabletop Minions.
Yep.
He works for a company who put out an app called Game 4.
Yes.
I tried it out, but I just relied on Facebook. And then that's how I met Doug. That's how I met all the guys from Rerolling Ones. And then we pretty much just play each other. And I'm starting to branch out, like meeting people through tournaments. Like I played today at a guy's house. A lot of them are home games.
Yep.
2 games at a guy's house where every Tuesday they get together. Apparently they don't have jobs where they have to work during the week. I'm just happen to be on vacation. And they just play every Tuesday and get multiple games in. So I think the internet is your friend, definitely.
Totally, yeah. Game 4 is the name of that app where you can find and locate people. It works kind of like Craigslist postings almost, but it's a little more specific for wargaming, obviously. So very, very cool. For me, I am basically the same way. Trying to think. So obviously, yeah, we met through Facebook. You messaged me after watching the channel, and then how I met Mark was a local store opened up not far from where I was living at the time, and actually that Mark's brother owns that store. It's Let's Play Cafe in Monroe, Washington. And so I went there just to see what was going on, and then Mark was doing AOS demos. And that's how we met. Most of my games are in people's homes, simply because I feel like all the stores around here, their AOS day is Sunday, and that just never works for me. And so, yeah, it's always at people's homes.
You know why?
What?
You have a relationship with Jesus. That's why.
Yeah, it's not just that, but yes, you're right. I am a church-going man, but also I used to serve with the youth of our church Sunday nights, and then my wife still does, but we were a one-car family, so it just never pans out.
I gotcha.
But yeah. Let's see here. As far as like how to grow it, just put something out there on Facebook at events or Game 4, and just if you say you're going to have an AOS night there, be there with ready armies to show people how to play. Okay, here's one I think we both have the same answer for. Dunny Woods asks, what, if anything, do you dislike the most about the way AOS plays?
Piling in.
Piling in, that was mine too.
Piling in could we can like segue into the type of game that we played on Saturday, but piling in takes the most time. It's the easiest rule to get wrong. And like sometimes you don't feel like being like, why do I have to call? I don't like calling people out all the time. Like, hey, like that's not the closest guy. Oh, that's not the closest guy. Actually, you have to do this. And it's like,
yep.
But that's the game. And it's like you can't pile in that way. Or I really hate when you have a big unit and say you have a guy like on one side, he's like 4 inches away, and now you can't pile in to the people you're in combat with way on the other side of the unit because that's not the closest model.
Yep.
You're kind of like, it doesn't make any sense. Maybe if they changed it to pile into the close, if you're in combat with them, you can pile into that unit, and just it's a lot of headaches. And I think they could streamline it, but then I put on my tinfoil hat again and be like, well, if they made the game like perfect or whatever, where would they go from there? They have to leave rules wrong. So like, oh, in Age of Sigmar 3, piling in is this.
Yeah, that's the real reason we had weird shooting rules for 3 years.
Need stuff to improve on. Little teaser videos. in Age of Sigmar 3, piling in is no longer, you know, it will be a big reveal and people will be freaking out about it.
Yeah, it is definitely my least favorite because once you touch something, you're locked to it, and that it kind of takes the wind out of the sail for like some of those units that have like their special thing is like 6-inch pile in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, where are you going to go? You can't leave the first guy you touch. So if you run into a unit of 25 dudes, you're going to stay there. Like it doesn't matter. You know, I think either like fixing the base roll for piling would be ideal, or just creating something special for certain units that's like they can break coherency, or you know what I mean. They can not coherency, but they can break off from a model they've tapped to do their big 6-inch pile-in thing. I don't know how that would work, but I'm not a game designer. I'm just a complainer.
I agree, Old Witch Doctor. Piling in should be based on units rather than models.
Agreed.
I like
100%.
I like the 40K within an inch thing as well.
Isn't that so nice? Because then you don't even move dudes. You're just like take your measuring stick, swath it over, and be like, yeah, dude. I wholeheartedly agree. So I'm gonna close off the questions here. If we didn't answer them because there's a lot I didn't get to, I'll do those in another WYR Reforging coming up here pretty soon. Yeah. So moving here. Let's talk about some games we played. I want you to focus on the big mega battle because it's from your channel. You spoil as much as you want.
Okay. Yes, we decided to play. What is it called again? Do you remember the name of it?
It's like Mighty Battles or like Battles of Might or something like that. We
recorded one on the channel, and I love the rules because everybody in the unit fights. You know, it's almost like two units run into each other and they both explode. You know, even if you die, there's no like, oh, I go first, I attack. Oh, you don't have any guys left. Every model unit who's like even if one model's touching, the whole unit gets to attack, and you both do all your attacks, and then you roll your saves, and whoever's left is left, and battle shock and so on. But it's a very fun way to play, very fast way to play. We did 7,000 on each side on an 8-foot table, and it streamlines. It makes it for mega battles faster. But a lesson we did learn is, even though it makes it faster, it's still a slow game. Sigmar is still a slow game. You know, one thing about fantasy, it was a little fast movement trays. Even though there's movement, you can use movement trays. You know, there's some third-party trays, but I'd say after the first two turns, movement trays just get in the way, and so it's a lot of picking up one model at a time, shuffling forward. That takes a long time, but it eliminates the whole pile-in fiasco we were just talking about. Once one's touching, it can roll for everybody. Yeah,
so there are a few rules changes, including that one. So like the big ones were wizards cannot cast more than one spell. If you can naturally cast more than one spell, instead of casting multiple spells, you get +2 for every spell that you then can't cast. So my Glotkin can cast 2 spells. He gets a +2 modifier to the one he can. If you had a wizard that could cast 3, like the Lord of Change or whatever like that, he would get +4 to the one spell he can cast, which is like nuts.
Yes.
And the biggest thing, was the pile-in. So to make things faster, if you have a unit of 40 Blood Reavers and one guy is in combat with something, you get to use all 40 Blood Reavers. So it makes the game way violent and also cuts down the time on just moving dudes, which is nice.
Yeah, also, you could, like, if you have range, you can double your range at the cost of -1 to hit.
Yes. Yeah, which is super delicious when it's a bunch of Fire Slayers who always have a 16-inch throwing axe all of a sudden.
We had a bunch of Skaven warp lightning cannons, and they don't hit on D6s, so they just all of a sudden got 48 inches. And still a weapon. So it was a fun game, and lessons were learned, but we all had fun. And there are other things like there's only you don't get command traits or anything like that, or magic items. You get 1 per army, and it's like a legendary command trait and a legendary magic item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of strange because like what you do is you strip away all the complexity of Age of Sigmar, Like there's no allegiance abilities. There's no points, but we use points anyway because why not?
No war scroll battalions.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't feel like it was any less complex because there's still so much going on. That was cool.
Yeah. What about the other game? Yeah, it was enjoyable. If you have a lot of friends and a lot of time, I suggest everybody give this Mega Battle gaming way a try.
Yeah. One thing I will add before we move on, because I know you just suggested move on, is that it doesn't have to be everything's the max size. Because like I ran with 2 units of 10 Chaos Warriors, and they still perform really well. I mean, just the fact that everything gets to attack when it's in combat is kind of legit. So even like there's just kind of this misnomer that it has to be massive everything, and that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
So just play whatever. So anyway, keep an eye. When's that battle report coming out? Do you know?
That one's going to be next week.
Okay.
This is going to be the Lost battle report that was supposed to be last week until my computer died.
Ooh.
So it's a good one.
Cool.
The sketches are really good. The sketches, like I get more geeked out about the sketches, but the sketches are good too.
Right on. That's awesome. I'm excited. I got to be a part of one again. I love it. Anytime I can be. All right. So without spoiling anything about your Mega Battle, because that's coming up, let's talk about this game that we played. We went to MOB Games in Lake Stevens. Great place. Trent's a great store owner.
AKA the game I took it easy on you. That's what I like to go.
Yeah. So it was Blades of Corn versus my Slaves to Darkness, because I know I said that I put the Slaves to Darkness up on the wall, but the Mega Battle was Chaos versus Order, and I had to leave, so I left my stuff with Jack, went to pick it up, and we played a quick game. So that's why I have my Slaves to Darkness on me. And so my list, was Glotkin. I did Chaos Undivided. So I have my Glotkin, Chaos Sorcerer and Manicore, Chaos Lord, or Lord of Chaos, I think he's technically called. 40 Marauders, 2 blocks of 10 Chaos Warriors, and 2 things of 5 Knights, and Chaos Marauder Horseman. Jack, what'd you bring?
I brought a unit of 30 Bloodletters, 2 units of 10 Blood Reavers, a unit of 5 Blood Warriors, Garrick's Reavers, Morgor's Fiends, a Bloodthirster, Wrath of Corn Bloodthirster, and was it a Bloodstoker, Blood's Crater, a lot of blood stuff.
It's the blood stuff, yeah.
Well, I'm tired of taking, I have one list I usually play with my Corn. And I was tired of doing Gore Pilgrims because we've done that battle before.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you a new look. And so I tried something new. Especially the way to play this way. It's I'll let you describe the way, but it's not it's more random, which I really liked. So you never know what you're going to need.
Totally, yeah. So what we did was the battle strategies, which is it's in the core rule book, right?
Yep.
If you go towards the back, it's something that I noticed there, and I remember thinking, "This is incredible! I can't wait to talk about it." And then we got flooded with malign sorcery and kind of stuff, so it completely escaped my mind until you brought it up on Monday. But basically, if you played 40K, they have I think it's Maelstrom of War, where it's random objectives. So you and your opponent both get objective A, B, and C. And from there, you randomize what your goals are each turn. So at the beginning of the game, you generate 3 objectives, and then every one of your turns following that, you gain another one. And so you're in a race with your opponent to see who can complete those objectives before the end of the 5th turn. And it's things like control your opponent's objective C, or control both C objectives. Destroy a unit within 6 inches of an objective. Doesn't matter which one. All those kinds of things. So it's super random.
Last model in a unit, stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. And so it's super random, but it's tons of fun. So tell me do you want to say how the game went?
Oh, the game, it was fun. You won, which is, I think we're 17-1 now. No. No.
Exactly, yeah.
We actually the game this week on Rerolling Ones will be playing battle strategies between Dylan and Brent, and that game was awesome as well. Just like you have to prepare, expect the unexpected. You need to be able to move around because you start the game with 3, and then you get 1 per turn.
Yep.
So you kind of, and honestly, I wish I paid more attention because I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna go kill him. And then I'm like, I end up running to one of the wrong objectives, not paying attention. It's definitely you have to be on your toes in this game, where you can't just sit back and hope for the best. It actually requires you to think,
mm-hmm.
make decisions. So,
yeah, I took some pictures. They're up on my Instagram page. You can go take a look. I did a few sweeping shots, like from one end of the board to the other, so you can see how we're kind of lined up. But my objectives that I started off with, I'm not going to fault you if you don't remember all of them, but mine were have 2 more objectives controlled than my opponent. Control both objective C's, which are on the same side of the table, and then something else. But just to give you an idea of what some of them are like. Yeah. And basically how it unfolded was I knew I had an uphill battle because I was running my Slaves to Darkness, so I put all my cav on one side and I bet heavy to win heavy. And that's the side where a lot of the objective action was taking place. So with combination of like knights and things like that, I was able to hammer through and just be where I needed to be.
I really got to say, I fell in love with my bloodletters in that game. Those things are very nasty.
Yeah, they are. They chew through a 40-man unit of Marauders and then Knights.
Then got beat up by the Glycan.
That legitimately, and I know Mark exaggerates with the this has never hit in the history of Warhammer thing. That is the most work that model has ever done for me in the years that I've owned it.
I got to be on the receiving end because I remember when I had my demon at bottom.
Yeah, dude. Put him straight into the dirt.
Spot on impression of Mark. I thought he was in the room. I was like, "Oh shoot, when'd you get here?"
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. He did have his moment of glory when like he gets +1 attack from his big command ability, and then like between that and I just rolled hot for all of his hit to hit rolls on his like big flailing tentacle, which is like 2 damage each. It's just something obnoxious. So
I suggest everybody give it a shot, especially if you know your opponent. You have a very good rapport with them. It's a very fun way to play. I think we do Triumph and Treachery again.
Totally, I agree. I think the thing about the battle strategy things I like is that it makes different kinds of units super good. Mm-hmm. Like highly mobile units, doesn't matter if they're effective in combat or not. Like those Marauder Horsemen put in work because I could swivel them around to get them near the objective. I don't know. I think that was really cool, and like that was the first time I've won with the Slaves to Darkness in like I honestly think almost a year.
Wow.
Right? Have I won anything since then?
Oh, Path to Glory, you got in second place, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yes, that's true. But I mean, as far as like where we both take the time to build lists and things like that, I don't remember.
Probably one of the. It's just they're just an army that doesn't have a book. They're not in a good way right now.
Oh yeah, I'm not complaining about them. I just mean like my point is if you are finding in your local group that someone is struggling, offering this kind of format might be really beneficial to them because it changes up what's the best.
Agreed. If you don't have a top tier army, this is a fun way to play.
Totally.
Because it's not all about, all right, sit on this objective and wait or do anything like that. The objectives could change.
Yep. Totally agree. And then, just for, particularly a lot of those, like, General's Handbook Allegiance factions, like Free Peoples and Wanderers, like, they could really benefit from alternative win conditions.
Yes. That'd be fun to do a tournament of battle strategies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's 40K tournaments that do that same thing. It's been around for forever for them. And they're a blast. Like that in the last edition of 40K, that was my preferred way to play. Because again, I always play armies that tend to not be the greatest because I always pick models first rather than actual units. But yeah, I mean, it's super legit when, someone might have like the super hardcore Death Guard can't be killed thing, but if they can't get across the board to get an objective, it doesn't matter. Like it is, you don't have to kill them. And so, yeah, no, it's totally cool. Like I would love to go to a tournament that's just those things for sure.
Yeah, that can be the 2+ tough invitational. Let's do it.
Yeah, I need to find like 10 more hours in my life to figure that out. I would love to host an event. If you are a tournament organizer, reach out to me and give me some tips through my email on my channel because I want to do it, and I have a store that's offered to let me do it. I actually have 2 stores that offered, but
name names, put them on blast. Who would?
What, the stores?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, MLB Games, Trent has definitely offered his store up for any events, and then also Mox Boarding House in Bellevue, Washington has also offered.
What? I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, and Mox in Bellevue is when I first saw Warhammer Fantasy Battles being played, and I was like, not first ever in my life, but like that there was a current meta up here. I was like, ooh, that looks fun. So that's what kind of got me back into stuff after I left War Machine and Horde. So,
oh, speaking of that, I had my first Warhammer Horde game today.
Oh, you played? Yeah, okay. What'd you think?
I don't have enough time to get into another game. The guy he was pushing hard. He was like, "Oh, they have a deal. It's $60 for $200 worth of stuff on their website, and it's all random." I'm like, "Man, do you work for them or something? What?"
They.
It's not like I walked into a GW store. I'm like, no, man.
Are you standing next to a Cadillac? What'll it take to get you in this Warjack here?
Come on, GW.
That's funny. I like the game. I really am all about storylines and lore, and they just, when I was playing, they didn't flesh that stuff out at all. They had no interest in it.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's okay. They had a few books, but they were not gripping literature. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But I know like the company has changed quite a bit since then, so might be worth looking into.
Understood. 2+ Tough is branching out.
Yeah, I will be. I mean, like I definitely am looking at getting into. I've already announced like talking about kill teams. And I'll probably get back into 40K. I think I'm going to go with Death Guard.
Nice.
Because it's the cheapest with the lowest cost entry.
I have demons. I can use my demons for 40K. But it's just, to me, it's I'd rather be a proficient at one and then okay at 2 systems.
I know exactly what you mean.
You got anything else?
I don't think I do. Is there any questions in the chat? I don't have it up in front of me right now.
No, they're talking about kit bashing stuff, which you're really good at. But yeah, I think that's a show. Not as good as the last one, but we're can't all be winners.
I don't know. I like it as much as the last one. I had more fun with the battle strategies thing than I've had in a long time.
Oh no, I'm talking about the show.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. But yeah, hey Edson, thank you all so much for listening. If you're listening to this through the podcast catcher, go ahead and give me a possibly a positive review if you feel so inclined, and then also share with a friend. Just always pointing towards the YouTube channel because that's where most of the stuff happens. And then also if you want to follow along with the hobby progress of the Iron Jaws, feel free to follow me on Instagram, which my link is in the description down below. And Jack, any closing words you want to throw out there?
I'm on Instagram as well at RerollingOnesJack. I have Instagram for my comedy, but I haven't been doing stand-up that much. So just follow me on the Rerolling Ones one.
All right, and be sure to check out their channel for all of the super awesome battle reports with the mega battle we talked about coming out next week. and a glimpse at what battle strategies is like coming out Thursday. Is that what you said?
This week, Thursday. Unless my computer dies again, but it's going good.
Okay. Well, unless his computer dies again. There's always that. Well, thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you again real soon.
Bye-bye.